And the second thing I just mentioned is now the equation has changed, hasn't it? It's not just one or two nations. Now we're starting to look at a different scenario, aren't we? Could you please help develop that?
Well, we really are. What has changed it so dramatically is, the fundamental aspect that Ronald Reagan put forward, that it's much better to defend our citizens than to avenge them. But what's changed so much, Congressman Akin, is that now we are in a world where the coincidence of jihadist terrorism and nuclear proliferation could change the concept of our freedom, of every calculation that we've made for homeland security, because they can no longer be deterred. When we were dealing with the Soviet Union, we placed our security to some degree in their sanity. We recognized that they wanted to live, they wanted their nation to continue. And that was a tremendous impetus on their part to try to work with us, to try to keep us free.
So reclaim my time. They had a nation state, and they knew that if they launched at us, the thing was, we might launch back at them. But now you're talking about a terrorist that may not have a nation state. So that's a different formula, isn't it? I yield.
Yeah, it's absolutely a different formula. Well, not only do we have rogue states and really non-state players, as you say, that don't have that risk that a nation state does, but we have a different mindset, and that's the part that frightens me the most. Terrorists that will cut someone's head off while they're tied down in front of a television camera while the victim screams for mercy with a hacksaw blade. We better be very thankful that hacksaw blade is not a nuclear capability, because that kind of intent, that kind of mindset that literally has been demonstrated to be willing to kill their own children in order to kill our children is the thing that frightens me the most, that intent, because it only...
So, reclaim my time. So what you're talking about is we're not only dealing with something that's not a nation state, but we're also dealing with a different frame of mind, a different calculus on the value of life. And, and you're talking about if nuclear weapons fall into the hands of people that have this mindset, this whole thing is really a game changer.
It really is, Congressman, because the reality is that this mindset cannot be deterred. This whole notion of mutually assured destruction was a deterrence strategy. And I'm not sure that jihad can be deterred. There's really two factors to every threat, to individuals or to nations, and that is the intent of your enemy and the capacity of your enemy. In this case, the Soviet Union, they had tremendous capacity, but their intent was tempered by their desire to survive themselves, and by their, you could even say that many of the Soviet people had a desire to see, people live and let live. But their government wasn't quite of that mindset. But now we face an enemy that is committed to the destruction of the Western world. And if they gain the capacity to proceed, I am afraid that my children and yours will potentially see the day of nuclear terrorism.